have you done anything to work towards it?
The state of the abysmal top 40 chart. Yeah, can make a difference there somehow. I don't know. I really value teaching, and I think it's one of the most important professions in the world, and yet the most horribly executed profession in the world. Yeah. You know, most of us mostly remember our bad teachers more than we remember our good teachers, and the crazy impact that somebody can have on someone of that age is it's insane that we're letting some of these people teach you. So I'd like to kind of maybe get more involved with something to do with that, and really kind of Montessori education. Actually, if any of you have ever heard of it, is actually pretty forward thinking. The 2 years I spent in a Montessori school were the only 2 years I ever enjoyed school. So I'd be interested in getting involved with that a little bit. I wanted to be a teacher when I was younger, before I wanted to be an actor.
Next question.
Hey, so my dad's family is from New Carlisle, so hopefully I'm going to be at the Dayton show, so I'm excited about that.
Cool.
So all my friends have heard the Buckhead shows, and I haven't gotten to do any, but I didn't know, I know on the Vampire Diaries your character was singing Patsy Cline, Willie Nelson, Walking After Midnight, and I didn't know kind of what some of your influences were for your music, which I think everybody should have the album, because I think we've all bought it, and it's very good.
Thank you to all of you who picked it up, by the way. Like, you know, I'm really pleased with it. Very kind of you to support me. My influences are pretty expansive. I worked in a record shop for 6 years, played in punk and hardcore bands before I was an actor. Used to have a mohawk, you know, foot-long mohawk, shaved on the sides, studded jacket, everything. But my main current influences, my holy trinity of music, as it were, are Tom Waits, Nick Cave, and Leonard Cohen, who are just amazing, groundbreaking lyricists and poets, and do their own thing, carve their own path. So, when? No. I don't do covers. I just do all my own stuff. It's easier. Actually, it's not easier, really. People like to hear covers, but it's easier for me. Don't have to learn any covers. Thanks.
Next question.
Hi.
Hi.
You seem to be really like calm and cool, and like nothing ever really bothers you or gets under your skin.
What'd you say?
Have you always been that way, or is that something that developed, you know, as you got older?
I'm actually suppressing an intense neuroticism and self-loathing that you cannot see shining through my Zen exterior. It's all about a balance, yin and yang. No, I battled with a lot of anxiety and depression and stuff when I was younger, but it was because I was in a schooling environment that was suppressing creativity, and I didn't really realize that I needed to be creative. So I was trying to fit into this mold that everybody's being fit into, you know. There's something wrong with the schooling system, I'm telling you. But yeah, no, back then I was a mess. Absolute mess. I mean, which resulted in me, you know, turning to punk rock and anarchy as my religion, really, for a number of years. But now I feel like I can appreciate all the aspects of my life, you know, the good aspects, the bad aspects, and can marry them into something that just makes sense. Because, you know, as the seasons change and animals grow and they die and plants grow and they die, everything has lightness and darkness. And as long as we can see that with everything, it's easier to accept everybody for who they are. You know? True. It's true. I'm a hippie, by the way. I don't know where that comes from. Hey.
I was just wanting to get back to your African trip. I was firstly wondering how you convinced your parents to fly. You know, you could go on a trip by yourself at 15 across the world and live there, and then why Africa?
Well, it was an age-old Malarkey tradition of sacrificing the firstborn son. They sent me to the lions, man. No, it's funny. It's a funny story, actually. I'll try to put it in a nutshell. I I was in high school, a sophomore in high school at the time, and you know, get suspended, causing trouble, and all this stuff. And my parents, little did I know, had arranged. I have a distant uncle in Africa who I've never met before. Little did I know they had rang him up and been like, is there any way you can make it seem like Michael came up with this idea, and maybe pose it to him as like a question, or blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I didn't know this conversation happened. But so this uncle rang me up one day and was like, "Hey, Michael, I'm here in Cameroon, blah, 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 and you're always welcome to." And I was like, "Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Yeah, man, I'll go to Africa." And I was like, I don't know if my parents will buy it though. Go ask my parents, and they're like, "You know what? Yeah, maybe you could do that." You know, there's a whole conspiracy that happened. So yeah, I thought it was my idea until about 5 years ago. And I realized, fuck, man. Yeah, so that's what happened. But I also, my father is an anthropologist, and I used to go to Europe every summer. I grew up in the States as much as I did in Europe. And so we were accustomed to traveling, you know, spent a lot of time in Switzerland, in the Czech Republic. Yeah, you're from Switzerland, right? Yeah, I spent about 6 years in Switzerland, on and off. My dad was teaching the World Peace Program there, which was emphasizing similarities between all the world's religions. And all the students who would come, they would learn in-depthly about every single one of the world's religions. And in trying to emphasize dialogue between them, which is the root of all the world's problems, in my opinion, is that lack of dialogue and understanding and empathy and misinterpretation of religious texts.
Next question?
Yes.
Hello.
Hi.
I was just wondering how you got into the character of Elsa.
Well, loads of jokes there that I'm surpassing. Whenever I get any role, I get the script. I literally will just, I do the kind of basic work where I look into who this character is, what's on the page and what's not, kind of fabricate to a certain degree, and kind of get an idea of who this guy is, you know, do all the work, and just go from there. You know, and when you're doing a theater piece, you got to do that work in the room. You got 4 weeks rehearsal. I come from a theater background, and you have that time to bounce things back and forth with the director, construct something, create this world. Whereas in film, you literally you get the job, you get the script, you get in there, you maybe have one rehearsal on the day before filming, and just do it. So they cast you based upon wanting to see that performance three-dimensionalized on that audition tape, as opposed to being able to work with it and stuff. So that's actually one of the bigger challenges in film, is that you don't have that kind of opportunity to do that. But yeah, I just got in there, did the work, and hopefully well, and, and yeah, carried on. Oh. Hi. Is that Michael again?
Yes.
My name's Michael too.
You're him in the future. Seriously. He's obsessed.
See a little rascal?
Yeah. And
Alright.
he wants to play the guitar. He wears his hair in a mohawk. And he always likes the bad boys, so yeah.
Well, there you go, man. Just keep the balance. All things in moderation.
What is your favorite song?
Favorite song? So many. Again, the music's like my bread and butter. But I'd say I've got a couple. I mean, one is I played Elvis in West End for a year, and I really became a huge fan of Elvis. I wasn't before. I'm ashamed to say. But having listened to all the early Sun Records stuff, it's just his range and the way he delivered it is phenomenal. One of his songs that I listened to after every audition that I thought I bombed was "If I Can Dream." And I'd leave the audition thinking, oh, I just totally screwed that up. They're not going to call me back. I went 8 rounds of auditions for this thing. And I popped my headphones in on the bus ride home and just listened to "If I Can Dream" and keep my fingers crossed. And so that one is a real special place in my heart. Go with that.
Hi, I was just wondering, who's the favorite character on the show that you enjoy working with?
Who's the bigger character on the show?
No, who do you enjoy working with the most?
Oh. God, you know, it's hard to say because all these guys and gals just become good friends of mine. You know, over the past year we've been working together. They're just such darlings, all of them. So it's hard to differentiate between them. I always like catching up with each particular one whenever we're working. But I got a special soft spot for Paul. He just, I don't know, I get his vibe. I love his deadpan humor. It kind of coincides with the British humor a little bit. We make each other piss ourselves. So he's great. Yeah. Yeah. Well, he's directing again as well the next episode. So that's gonna be cool. I'm glad he's doing that again because I think it suits him.
I'm over here.
Hi.
My question for you is, as Enzo, like, what characteristics do you think are more like you, and where are y'all different?
This is a hard question because, you know, as an actor, it's your job not to judge your character. It's your job to pull them close to you and go, okay, where can I connect? You know, obviously I'm not going to go out and kill people or anything yet. But it's my job to go, okay, well, he is me and I am him, and let's move forward. So it's hard for me to kind of pick apart certain bits that are like, oh, that's a bit of me and that's a bit of... I suppose, you know, the sarcastic, take everything with a grain of salt aspect is very much me. But I'm also a very intensely loyal friend and have my own set of principles that I abide by. So I guess that those aspects are the ones that are similar to me. Yeah, I guess.
Next question.
Hi, darling.
Hi.
My question is in regards to your writing. When you want to write, do you sit down and just consciously say, okay, cup of coffee, I'm writing, or do you journal and then put it all together at another time, just write your thoughts down? How do you go about that? What's your process?
Write music?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Inspiration is a tricky one because you know, I'll have some days where I'm like, oh God, I haven't written a song in a while. I gotta write. And exactly like that, you know. And I'll go back into my den, get the guitar out, and I'll be like picking on something and just frustrating the hell out of myself. And then like an hour or two later, I'll leave the room feeling abysmal. But the times when it works are when I'll literally be doing anything. I'll be like cooking breakfast or something, and be like, oh, there's something there, man. Oh shit, okay, back breakfast. Go back to my den and write like 2 or 3 songs. But it's just sometimes that inspiration is there, and it's important to, you know, be able to capitalize on it when it is. But you can't force it. I think a lot of artists, when they get stuck in major label deals, they get forced to write. They say, okay, this next record needs to be a pop record, and we need it by this time. Which is why we have so much shit music on the charts. No, I won't do it. No. I'll die.
So, third question, I guess. One, I loved when you said moderation because I actually you tweeted moderation in all things, including moderation. And
that's my own addition to the.
I put it. That's in my Twitter bio because I feel definitely that in all things. But my question is, what is your favorite scene as Enzo?
My favorite scene as Enzo. Well, I loved shooting Man on Fire last year, which was an episode where Enzo takes all these hostages in the bar and blah blah blah. It was the first time that I really got to delve into a different side of Enzo and kind of three-dimensionalize him a little bit more and discover a bit more of his humanity, which is tricky with guys who are kind of bad guys, even though I don't really consider Enzo a bad guy, because you know, when they write it, they sometimes just write it a little bit. They can have the potential to write it a little bit one-sided, like, okay, he's a bad guy, he does bad things, blah blah blah. Whereas in this aspect, in this situation, they really emphasize the fact that he has this humanity inside him as well, and that was good for good for me, good for you guys, probably, and good for everybody. So yeah, it was that episode, definitely.
Have a question over here?
Yo.
Hello. If it wasn't playing Enzo, is there another character on the show you would have liked to have played?
Yeah, actually, there's a new character out, Kai, who I would love to have played Kai. I literally read the first script he was in, and I was like, I really hope they get a good actor to play this guy, because this is a killer role. They better not get one of these frou-frou model types to come in and do it. And I was pleasantly surprised, you know, when they cast him. I mean, I didn't know his work beforehand, but I saw the first episode he was in, and I was like, yes. And he's got a lot of cool stuff going on. But yeah, I would like to take a stab at that.
Hi. My question is, with the new baby, how do you balance work, family, appearances, all the things that comes with being a family man? Obviously, your career is extremely demanding. How difficult is that, and how do you deal with it?
Well, this is my break time. Here, man. I can kind of breathe and hang out and whatever, you know. I mean, work in a way is that. It's a break from the demands of family. I can go in there, I can do my job, and get back home and do the family. So, yeah, it's a tough balance. I mean, you know, it's a completely new ballgame. You know, there's somebody else there who's completely and utterly dependent, you know, on us, and yeah, it takes some getting used to, but. You know, it's something that I didn't always want kids, actually. It's only something recently that I decided that, you know, I think that's what this life's about, really. So, I want to be a part of that. But yeah, it's a tough balance, but it's rewarding. So.
We have another question.
Yo.
Hi, Michael.
Hi.
I want to know, how was the process until you got the part on the Vampire Diaries, and what was the first thing that came into your mind when you got the part?
What was the first part of that question? Do you mind repeating?
How was the process until you got the part?
I literally sent 2 tapes, one in an American accent, one in a British accent, from London to LA, and I got the part. I mean, how long? I sent one tape in. And about 2 weeks later, they wanted it again, and I sent that in the British accent, and then I got the part. But I think the reason why it was such an easy process is because of my jawline. No, I'm joking. My quickly diminishing jawline through fatherhood. I did a pilot for the CW called The Selection, which we did the spring before I got the part. And for that process, I went through literally 7 rounds of auditions, screen tests out in Budapest, and I went through the mill. And I think because of that, they'd seen my, you know, everybody watches the pilot, so they were like, okay, well, we know this guy, we're not going to torture him again, you know. They just tortured me on the show. So, yeah. Did that answer your question? Oh, and how did I feel when I got the part? Pretty good. Went and played 10-pin bowling, darling. Hey.
Hey, I was wondering, since Enzo, when he came on, he seemed like such an instantly likable character, you know, nobody really questioned where he came from or his backstory. Is that something that we'll get into more as the season goes on? Will we learn more about Enzo's history?
I hope so. Just so I can wear some like Victorian wigs or something, like Gillies and Morgan get to do all the time. I also like the fact that he is slightly enigmatic, and we you know, there are these questions about Enzo, like what's his last name, and you know, how was he turned and stuff like that. It's kind of it is kind of interesting that we don't know. However, you know, I do love a good flashback and a little more screen time.